Mars is often called humanity's second home, a backup planet, a place we could escape to if Earth ever becomes uninhabitable. We see images of red deserts, futuristic domes, and astronauts walking calmly under alien skies. In movies, Mars looks difficult but manageable. In headlines, it sounds like a plan. But there's a question that almost no one asks honestly. If humans moved to Mars today, with the technology we actually have, how long would we survive? Not in theory. Not in some distant future where every problem is solved. But right now. And the answer is uncomfortable. Because Mars is not Earth, but colder. Mars is a world that slowly kills you through physics, chemistry, and time. Welcome to Deep Space Explained. This channel looks at space without the science fiction filter. No hype. No heroic fantasies. Just reality explained clearly. And today, we're testing one of humanity's biggest dreams against the real universe. Can humans really live on Mars? To answer that, we need to stop thinking like storytellers and start thinking like biology. Because biology does not negotiate. First, what is Mars actually like? Mars is cold, dry, and extremely hostile to life as we know it. Its atmosphere is less than 1% as dense as Earth's. That means almost no air pressure, almost no protection, and absolutely no breathable oxygen. On Earth, our thick atmosphere and magnetic field protect us every second of our lives. On Mars, that protection is almost completely gone. And this single fact changes everything. Let's start with the most basic requirement for survival. Breathing. Mars' atmosphere is made mostly of carbon dioxide. Oxygen exists only in trace amounts. Without a spacesuit, a human would lose consciousness in seconds. Death would follow shortly after. But even with advanced technology, breathing on Mars would never be natural. Every breath would depend on machines, filters, and energy systems working perfectly. And here is the key point. On Mars, perfectly is not a luxury. It is the difference between life and death. So ask yourself this. Is a world where every breath is borrowed really a home? Now let's talk about something you can't see. Radiation. Mars has no strong. This allows cosmic radiation and solar particles to reach the surface far more easily than they do on Earth. Radiation damages DNA. It increases cancer risk. It affects the brain, fertility, and long-term health. Astronauts on the International Space Station already receive significantly more radiation than people on Earth. On Mars, exposure would be even higher and constant. To survive long-term, humans would need to live underground or inside heavily shielded structures. No open cities. No long walks under the sky. If humans live on Mars, the surface will be something you visit, not where you live. Which leads to a difficult question. If you can't safely live outside, are you living on Mars or just surviving inside a machine that happens to be placed there? Temperature makes everything harder. The average surface temperature on Mars is around minus 60 degrees Celsius. In some regions, it drops below minus 100. Liquid water cannot remain stable on the surface. It freezes or evaporates because the atmospheric pressure is too low. Water may exist underground, locked in ice or deep reservoirs. But accessing it would require advanced drilling, enormous energy, and constant maintenance. Without reliable access to water, there is no stable human life. Only short-term survival. Then there is food. Mars soil contains toxic chemicals called perchlorates. They are dangerous for humans and harmful to plants. That means you cannot simply grow crops in Martian soil. Food production would be entirely artificial. Hydroponic systems, controlled lighting, filtered nutrients, sealed environments. A Martian farm would not look like agriculture. It would look like a laboratory that never gets to shut down. And again, the same pattern appears. On Earth, nature helps you recover from failure. On Mars, there's no nature, only systems. But perhaps the most underestimated challenge is not physical at all. It is psychological. Mars is far away. At its closest, it is tens of millions of kilometers from Earth. Communication delays can reach up to 20 minutes one way. Real-time conversation with Earth would be impossible. No immediate help. No fast rescue. No quick return. Astronauts would live in isolation, confined spaces, and constant risk. And if something goes wrong, help could take months to arrive. The human brain evolved for open environments, social contact, and safety signals. Mars offers the opposite. So ask yourself this. What would life on Mars do to a person after 1 year? After 5 years? After 20? With all of these dangers, why does Mars still attract us? Why do governments plan missions? Why do companies promise cities? Why does humanity keep looking at this red planet with hope? Because Mars is the least hostile option beyond Earth. It has a day length similar to ours. It has gravity, weaker but present. And it has resources that could, in theory, support a limited human presence. Mars is not ideal. It is simply the best option we know. Could future technology change the answer? Possibly. Better radiation shielding. Underground habitats. Advanced energy systems. Artificial ecosystems that recycle air and water with extreme efficiency. But possible does not mean comfortable. And it does not mean safe. Early settlers would not be pioneers living freely on a new world. They would be highly trained specialists living inside fragile systems, constantly maintaining life itself. Mars would be a place to survive, not a place to thrive. At least not for a very long time. So, can humans really live on Mars? Yes, but only in a controlled, artificial way. Not as a normal society. Not as a second Earth. If humanity ever builds a permanent presence there, it will look less like a city and more like a network of underground shelters connected by engineering. Because Mars does not offer life. It offers a challenge. And that challenge leads to a final question that matters more than Mars itself. Are we trying to move to Mars because it is truly our future, or because the idea of Mars makes us feel like the future is still possible? That is what Mars really is. Not a destination. A mirror. Deep Space Explained.